Transitional Chapter.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? If you can hear me, put it in the chat that you can hear me. Yes? Okay, hold on. Okay. Let me see if I can hear Eva. Eva, are you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there we go. All right, and you can hear me well?
Yes. Can you talk again?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's like, I don't know how to say it, not so out loud.
Okay, all right,
Your
hold
voice
on.
is so low.
Let me. Okay, what about now?
Now it's
Perfect.
cool.
There we go. Okay, all right, so good. That was a little mixed up for a second. Let's see. All right, so we have Eva. Eva, where are you from?
I'm from Costa Rica.
Oh, Costa Rica. Nice. And all right, I mean, we have Murad. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
Good, good, very good. Good to have you in class. Tatiana, how are you? Okay, I can't hear you, Tatiana. So you may need to fix your mic. Murad, I don't think I asked you where you're from.
I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Okay. And Vin, how are you?
Hey April, I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay, good, very good. And where are you from, Vin?
I'm from India.
April.
India.
Hi.
Okay. And Viv, how are you, Viv? How are you, Viv?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, good. You know, it's been 4 days since I have taught class, and I miss you guys. I really, I really do. Now there is someone here
Oh,
who is maybe have the Verblin website up. So take the Verblin website off so that you can reduce the echo.
Can you give us your introduction, April?
I sure can. Before I do that, however, I definitely would like for, if any of you have the Verblin website up, close it out and just have the Google site up because I'm hearing an echo. And if you're not using a microphone, then make sure you use one that will also reduce the echo. All right, so again, my name is April, and I am from the United States, and I reside in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I live in a large city, and I grew up here, so I've been here all my life in Philadelphia. And it definitely is a great place, has its advantages and disadvantages, basically. But yes, that's me, and that is where I am from.
What are the advantages and disadvantages you are talking about?
Say that again.
What are the advantages and disadvantages you are talking about?
All right, you have to slow down a little bit for me.
You said
I heard something about what is this you're talking about?
now you said there are advantages and disadvantages living in United
Oh,
States.
yes.
What are those?
Well, no. I'm not mentioning the United States in a whole. I'm mentioning when I say it, there are advantages and disadvantages. I'm referring to the actual.
Philadelphia?
Yes,
Oh,
there you
okay.
go. I'm referring to the actual city that I live in, which is Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And in terms of Philadelphia, it's like I said, it's a big city. So there are a lot of things to do. So that's definitely an advantage. You can find, I mean, anywhere you go, anything you want to do, you can pretty much find. But it's also considered a dangerous city in terms of crime rate.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So that's what I meant when I said disadvantages
So
would
which
be
part
that.
of United States you stay in?
So I am
It's the
in.
eastern side or western or Central America? Where is it exactly?
So it's like the Northeast.
Northeast? Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm just asking you because I was just reading the news and it says, the blizzard or, some storm going to
There
hit
you go.
tomorrow.
Exactly. And there you go. We're having a storm that's supposed to be coming. I hope it's not too bad because I hate driving in the snow. I really
Uh,
do. It's been proven kind of dangerous for me because you can basically get caught once it frees up. And I've had a car accident before from driving in the snow, and it was freezing. Yeah, so definitely, hopefully not. But yes, so you read that in the news. That's exactly what's going on, and we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. So
okay.
yeah. So thank you for that. So anyway, today's lesson is going to be on transitional words and phrases. We are going to discuss words to help us better identify, or actually better flow in terms of reading, writing, and speaking. So transitional words are connectors. Let me share my screen with you guys, and feel free. I've included the presentation under my class description, so you guys can open it up as well if you're having a problem viewing it. So let me share my screen. Okay. So the way the class is going to go today is we're going to discuss the various different types of transitions. And then we are going to have a practice quiz where you'll be able to just see what your knowledge is. So a lot of these will be some of these will be very easy for you. You use these pretty much on a daily basis. And some of them you may not use as much, but you will find ones that you are pretty much used to. So some of it will be a review. All right, so let's get started. I need for someone to read for me what are transitions and how are they used. Can I have a volunteer?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Transition words and phrases help make clear connection between ideas. They allow sentences and paragraphs to flow together smoothly, making them easier to read.
Perfect. Very good reading. Yeah, so basically all it's doing is just connecting one thought to another, connecting one sentence to another. The great thing about transitional words is it helps, especially in your writing, it helps for your writing to not sound elementary. When you think of a small child, maybe a toddler or so, that toddler may not use a lot of transitional words or phrases. But as you get older, this is something that will show that you are developed in your writing and in your speaking. So first, let's talk about the different types of transitions. Okay, so you have transitional words that either provide more information, provide an example, provide a cause or reason, provide a result or an effect, provide a purpose or reason, provide a comparison or contrast, provide a sequence, provide a summary, and lastly, provide a conclusion. So first, let's go over the ones that provide more information. Can someone please give me an example sentence using any of one of these words that provide more information?
Teacher,
Yes.
can I ask you please? Is this session for any level, beginner or intermediate or what level?
This is intermediate.
Intermediate.
This is intermediate.
Okay,
So can
okay.
someone give me a sentence using one of these transitional words that provide more information? You have besides, furthermore, in addition, indeed, in fact, moreover, and second.
Uh, April, I want to do it.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Um, my mother is pretty. In fact, is the most beautiful woman in the world.
Yes, perfect. Very good. That was a very good. So you see the connection there, right? What you're doing is you're saying your mother is well, your first sentence was that she's very beautiful, right? So when you say in fact, what are you doing? You're providing more information. She's not only beautiful, she's, one of the most beautiful women in the world. So that's providing more information. Very good example. Can I get another example? Can I get an example using the word in addition? Remember, all of these basically can be used the same way in many cases. How about you, Carlos? You're there, you're smiling, you look like you're ready for a good lesson. So why don't you give me an example of a sentence using one of these transitional words? You're stuck, Carlos? Okay, can someone help him out?
Hello.
Yes. Oh, there you go.
Hello.
Yes. Okay, I can hear you
Can you
now.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Would you mind giving us a sentence using one of these words?
I'm sorry. I am learning English.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. That's what you're here for, right? So can
Oh,
someone help him out?
I'm sorry. My English is very bad.
That's okay. That's okay.
I am
So
from
here's an
Venezuela.
here's an example. I'll use in addition. Um I have to go to work tomorrow. In addition, I have to do my schoolwork. Okay, so it's just providing more information. So, what about furthermore? Any of you have an example for furthermore? Furthermore just pretty much clarifies or gives further information about something. No one? You guys are stuck on this? All right, so here's
I
another.
can
Go ahead.
uh, I like to play football. Furthermore, I like swimming.
There you go. Thank you very much. I knew you guys had it in you. I knew it. Exactly. So we use an example with furthermore, and we use an example with in fact. Very good examples. If you wanted to use second, you can use that in terms of when you're discussing something in sequence. So you can say, first, I have to cook. Second, I'm just making up anything, go to bed. Okay, so
Homework.
you can use second as a way to show a sequence of something. First, second, third, fourth. So that word is pretty easy. All right, so I'm going to go to the next. So those are transitional words that provide more information. Next, you have transitional words that provide an example. So these all show examples of something. So here we go. I love to dance. For example, I like to dance salsa and bachata. So there you go. That's just showing an example of something. I used a sentence and I connected it by saying, not only do I love dance, but here are some examples of the type of dance that I love. So can someone else give me another sentence using for example?
I can do it.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. I went to the supermarket and I bought a lot of fruits. For example, pineapple, watermelon, and grapes.
Excellent. Excellent. Exactly. So you guys see how she discussed that she went to the store and that she bought some things and then give an example of what types of things that she bought. Exactly. I mean,
Yes.
can you give me an example sentence using particularly? Try that one.
Okay.
Again, it's just providing an example of something.
I went me and my friends to the clothes shop. Particularly, we bought something.
Okay, exactly. Exactly. So you're being more specific is basically what it is. So I could also say, I love shoes. I particularly love high heel shoes, or particularly I love high heel shoes. Okay, so it's just providing an example. Same thing for instance, same thing for to demonstrate. All of these provide an example. Yes, I heard someone ready to ask a question. Any questions? Okay. All right, so those are words that provide an example. So next you have transitional words that provide a cause or reason, such as such, due to, for this reason, because, and since. Okay. So, then, can you give me a sentence using one of these transitional words that provide a cause or reason?
Yeah. I have been living in India since 1997.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Anyone else?
Can I do it?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Yesterday I had a party. For that reason, I don't want to go to the gym today.
Very good. Exactly. And someone in the chat put, I want to get a better job. For this reason, I am studying English. Well, how perfect is that sentence? Exactly. That's a very good way to transition with for this reason. What about Murad? Can you do one with because?
Okay.
I need practice English because it's important for me.
Very good. Very good. Exactly. So again, you're
Uh,
given a reason for studying English. That's what this type of transition does. Morad, I'm sorry. I think she went for you. What about due to? Can you try that one,
uh,
Morad?
I can do it.
About
Uh,
due to.
due to the chaos, the government announced curfew in all the country.
Very good. Exactly. Very good. So there is another situation where you have one thing and you're providing a reason to demonstrate. Okay, good. Jew in the chat put, I love you because you are so pretty. So another good example. Very good for that one. So you guys had that one down. All right. So another type of transition would be transition words that provide a result or an effect. For example, accordingly, finally, consequently, hence, so, and therefore. So this again provides a result or an effect. So you guys want to learn English. Therefore, you are attending verbling classes. Okay, so basically because you want to learn English, you guys are participating in these classes. That's the result of it. So that's what these type of transition words do. So consequently means basically the same thing. I'm doing one thing, and because of this, this is the result. Same thing with accordingly. So give me a sentence using one of these outside of therefore. You put in the chat, I don't know the hence word. It means the same exact thing as therefore. Okay, I have someone in the chat that wanted to use finally. But after 3 days with a bad cold, finally she is okay. Very good.
Uh, can I give an example?
Go
Yeah?
ahead. Yes.
Okay, well, I love my boyfriend, therefore I preparing a good surprise for him to Valentine's Day.
Okay, very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Hussein, can you give me one using one of these transitional words? Can you give me a sentence?
Okay. I'm learning English, so I'm using Verblink to do that.
Very good, Hussein. Very good. Exactly. And anybody else want to try any of these words here? Okay, all
Uh,
right.
I
Oh, go ahead.
studied I studied more English. Therefore, I
Okay, I missed Tamir. I missed the last part because you kind of cut off.
Can I?
Okay, go ahead.
Um, I want to practice English. So finally, I do it.
Okay, all right, good, very good. And you
Can
actually
I?
used two transitions in one. How do you pronounce your name?
Uh,
Is it Veridek?
call me Ken and better.
Ken?
Ken. Yes.
Okay, all right, that's easier. All right, and then Omar in the chat put, finally, I will get a good grade in grammar. Excellent. Very good example, you guys. All right, so the next type of transition words would be transition words that provide another purpose or reason, and it's for fear that, in the hope that, in order to, so that, and with this in mind. So, for example, for fear that I may fail the test, I am going to make sure that I study daily. Okay, so that's an example for fear that.
Can you repeat it again, please?
For fear that I may fail my tests, I am going to study daily.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another example of purpose or reason. Because of this particular thing, I'm going to do this, or this is my reason for something. So give me another example.
Can I?
Anyone? Yes.
In order to make that happen, you have to work so hard.
Perfect. In order to make that happen, you have to work so hard or very hard. Very good. What about, can someone give me one? Tatiana, can you give me one using with this in mind?
What? The
Can you give me an example sentence using the transitional phrase with this in mind? Can you try that one?
I don't fly the aeroplanes for fear that I don't know.
Okay, you were on the right track. You were on the right track. So if you think of something where something you may be in fear of, what's something that you have fear about or concerned about more so?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's difficult this transition for me.
Okay, no problem. So maybe again, using the example I used, for fear that I may fail my test, I am going to study daily. Okay, so that's basically what it's saying is you have something, particularly in my case, I have a fear about something. So for that reason, because remember, this is a transitional word that provides a purpose or a reason. So for that reason, I'm going to do B. Because of A, I'm going to do B. Is basically what these transitions do.
I example. In I study English in order to I have a best work.
Okay, good. Okay, very good. And then someone in the chat put, I cannot focus in class with this in mind. What about also if you are, someone give me one with this in mind, but using a sentence before you actually say this transitional phrase.
I always see April wearing earrings. With this in mind, I give her a pair on her birthday.
Oh, that's perfect. Very good. So did you guys see what Vivian did here? She focused on one thing and provided a reason for doing it. That's what this type of transition does. Very good. That was really nice, Vivian. And I'll be waiting for my earrings. All right, so that's transitional words that provide a purpose or reason. Next, we have transition words that provide a comparison or contrast. So these should be a little bit more easier because they're either comparing something with showing the similarities or showing the differences. So you have although, however, in comparison and contrast, likewise, nevertheless, on the other hand, and similarly. So let's say, for example, I was using on the other hand. On the other hand would be one that's showing a difference or a contrast between something. So I may say, I love basketball. On the other hand, I love football. So those are two different sports. But I'm showing that I like both, but I'm still giving a contrast. So that's what these type of transitional words do. Give me an example with using however. That's a very common transitional word. However. Someone give me an example.
Can I?
Teacher, I want to give an example on the other hand, but just because I want to know if I understand.
Okay, go ahead first. Go ahead,
Uh,
you can do that first.
yeah, can I say my house is too small? On the other hand, the neighborhood is so quiet and I love it.
You can actually, yes, because you're actually, it's still showing a difference between two things. So it's kind of like you're saying that you have an issue with the fact that your house is small, but you don't have an issue with the fact that the neighborhood is great. So yes, you can use that. You
Okay,
can.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now can Hussein, can you give me one using however? That's a very common transitional word. Hussein? Oh,
Um,
okay. I don't. Hussein, are
and
you there?
He's
All
there.
right. What about Veridex?
call me
Or
Ken.
Ken.
um, I think that is the big how, but in contrast, it not.
Okay. All
And
right. And then someone put in the chat, John is very smart. However, his classmates don't like him because he is selfish. Very good example. Very good example. Omar in the chat put the villagers needed help. However, nobody helped them out. Very good. Another good way of using however to show a difference or contrast. What about lastly we'll do although. I mean, can you try one with although?
Yes. Yesterday I went to school although I was sick.
Very good. That is very perfect. Okay, so he went to school although he was sick. And lastly, Vivian put in the chat, I like fairy tales. However, it's hard to believe on you want to say in them, Vivian, instead of on them.
Oh, okay. Thank
Very
you.
good. All right. So, then we have transition words that provide a sequence. These are all sequence, meaning it's showing that something is happening after one thing after another. So you have after, before, currently, during, eventually, finally, then you can do first, second, third, etc. Initially, lastly, later, meanwhile, next, previously, simultaneously, meaning some things are going on at the same time, soon, subsequently, formally, and immediately. I'm sorry, let me go back up. Okay, so, after should be a very easy one for you guys. Can someone give me one with after? A sentence with after? Okay, I thought that everyone was going to
Mm,
give me one for that one. Julie, are you there? Julie? Alright, I'll give her a moment because she may. And Hussein, are you back yet?
yes, yes.
Okay. So, can you give me one using after?
Okay. I'm leaving Verbling after the class finish.
Okay, good. Good. And then you can switch it too. After the class is finished, you can say what you're going to do. So you can make after a part of the beginning of a sentence as well. What about
Mhm.
during? Someone give me one with during.
Can I?
Yes.
Don't answer the phone during the movie.
Yes, very good. And that one holds true sometimes, right? What about
Yeah.
simultaneously? That means something is basically happening at the same time. That one's a little harder, right?
I am
Vivian
cutting
can
vegetables
be on
simultaneously.
the
I am cooking.
Okay, two people were talking at a time, so I didn't hear the whole thing. So what was said again?
I am cutting the vegetables simultaneously. I am cooking it.
Perfect. Exactly. Exactly. So it's just showing that you're doing basically something else while you're doing, or two things at a time, basically, is what it's saying. And then what about immediately? Immediately meaning you're going to do something right then and there. So give me an example with immediately. A sentence with immediately.
I have to go home
if you
immediately after the meeting.
Yes, exactly.
if you get hurt, you should immediately clean it.
Perfect. Yes. Okay. And lastly, let's do previously. Previously obviously means something you've done beforehand. So give me an example of the word, a sentence with previously.
Previously on house, the doctor killed the patient and
Very good. What you actually did was use a common statement, right? That's used on
yeah.
TV. Previously on blah, 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 blah. That was really good. Exactly. Exactly. So it's just something that happened beforehand. All right. So good job with that one. Then we have transition words that provide a summary. So you have briefly, in brief, overall, in summation. In summation is the same thing as saying in conclusion. To put it briefly, to sum up or to summarize again, can also mean in conclusion or, to conclude. So give me an example, Vivian, using overall.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that one's a harder one. But I
Yeah.
want you to try it.
What does it mean?
So it basically means when you're using it, you're saying how you felt. Oops, I'm sorry. Let me go back. And I still hear this echo, you guys. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So again, if anyone in here has a Verbalin website up, please close it. Okay, I think it sounds better.
Can I make the sentence?
Yeah, and then I'll go ahead and explain it further. Go ahead.
I am not the rich guy, but overall I am happy.
Okay, perfect. All right. So did you hear that, Vivian? Vivian?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, he gave an example of he's not really, he may not be happy in one particular thing, but overall, meaning basically like altogether, I feel I'm happy with my life, basically. So it's basically providing a summary of something, but it's given, like, you ever hear the term an overall picture of something? It's like a full view of something. So let me give you another example that may help. I don't like math. And then I'm going to actually use two transitional words. However, overall, I feel that it is an important skill to have. So, I said one thing about it that may have been a little negative, but overall, or altogether, or in summary, it's still a good skill to have. Do you understand a little bit more for that one, Viv?
Yeah, I think so. Can I say something like, my computer is old and has a lot of problems, but overall, I like it.
You got it. You got it. There you go. So you understand perfectly.
Yay!
All right. And then what about to put it briefly? Brief means something is short, right? It's not long or anything like that. You have a brief conversation. It's a short conversation. So how would you say to put it briefly?
April, to put it briefly, your class is awesome.
There you go. Perfect example. And thank you, dear. So we seem to have this one. Briefly would be you would use briefly the same way, or in brief. She could have said, in brief, your classes are awesome. Um, she could even say, April, I don't like this particular class, but overall, your classes are generally very good. So that could be another example. All right, so and then the last one we're going to go over would be transition words that provide a conclusion. So we all know that a conclusion is basically an ending to something. You conclude it, you end it. So we have given these facts, hence, in conclusion, so, thus, to conclude, and therefore. And as you can see, some of these are used in different categories. We had therefore before. We had so. We had therefore in terms of providing cause or reason, but therefore is also can be used as a conclusion, as a transition that provides a conclusion. So give me an example for in conclusion, a sentence with in conclusion.
In conclusion of the party, we're gonna eat dinner.
Well, not exactly. Not exact. Think of in conclusion more of when you
Hello,
are.
hello,
Yes.
hello.
Yes.
Yes, teacher. I think in conclusion we have done a pretty good job.
Okay, that's a good example. Yes. So you want to think of it more in terms of, let's say you just had a good conversation with someone and you're explaining a particular situation. After you explain that situation, you want to end the conversation and give your final thoughts about it. So that's what in conclusion would be, your final thoughts. So, okay, so here's examples you put in the chat. In conclusion, I need to improve my English vocabulary. So that's what he came up with after, maybe realizing or taking some classes. His conclusion is that he needs to improve his English vocabulary. So that's what in conclusion. The same thing would be for to conclude. He could have said, to conclude, I need to improve my English vocabulary. Or I didn't do well on my test, thus I need to improve my scores, or I need to improve my studying habits, or my studying skills. What about someone give me one for giving these facts?
Can I do it?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I'm ugly and I have a lot of free time. Given these facts, I'm single.
Yes, you can use that. You can use that. And then you can also, use it as, with this information that I have, this is what I'm going to do. So, for example, given these facts that my job may be laying people off, I'm going to look for a new job.
Teacher,
Okay?
what,
Yes.
teacher? What about this one? Given this fact, the company is going to be shut down.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. Very good example. All right, so you guys got it. Okay, so now it's time for a little quiz. So let's see how much do you know about using transition words. Just to give you a little hint, there will be some that you learned today. There will be some on here that you may not have learned. So let's just see what you know. What you're going to do is you're going to choose a transition word to complete the following sentences. All right, so first one. I love to write essays for school. Blank, I really enjoy receiving large amounts of homework from my teachers. What transition word do you think fits here?
Nevertheless.
In fact.
Okay, so someone said nevertheless. Let me try that. I love to write essays for school. Nevertheless, I really enjoy receiving large amounts of homework. Okay, nevertheless doesn't work because it's basically saying you feel one way, however, you'll do this. But this person is saying, I love to write essays for school. Blank, I really enjoy receiving. So someone said, in fact, that will work perfectly. So it's just giving more information. I love to write essays, and in fact, or as a matter of fact, or how you want to say it, this person really enjoys receiving large amounts of homework. So it's just clarifying and confirming and basically providing more information. What about this one? Blank working as the President of the United States, George Bush loves to ride horses.
In addition to.
In addition to.
Perfect. Okay. Because he loves one thing, and this is just showing that this is something else that he loves as well. So that's what in addition is. What about
ใน
Blank?
ห้องครัวเปล่า
I do enjoy. Okay, I'm hearing a lot of noise.
ยังน่ากินอยู่เลยนะข้างนอกเหรอแปลว่าอากาศ
Hello. Thank you. Okay. Blank, I do enjoy cooking as a hobby. I will not prepare all the food for your party.
Although.
Perfect. Exactly. Although I do enjoy cooking as a hobby, I will not prepare all the food for your party. Okay. Blank, I promised to go to school today. I stayed home to watch television.
Although
again, although I promised to go to school today, I stayed home to watch television. Okay. Okay, Blank, Jack's going up the hill to fetch a pail of water. He returned home with an empty bucket.
Meanwhile. With this in mind.
With this in mind.
Okay, wow, I'm hearing three different. So think about it. Okay, so think about this. This one is showing a contrast, basically, right? He went to do one thing, but it didn't happen. This is the result. So what word in here you think would be showing a difference? Whereas, exactly. Whereas Jack's going up the hill to fetch a pail of water, he returned home with an empty bucket. Okay, Blank, to make my writing very clear, I will learn how to use transitional words.
Therefore.
Is actually therefore. So, therefore, to make my writing very clear, I will learn how to use transitional words. And this may help you if you say it beforehand. I need to make my writing more clear. Therefore, to make my writing very clear, I will learn how to use transitional words. Sometimes it helps to have a sentence beforehand so you can understand. Okay, Blank, people believe the earth was flat.
Eventually.
Not exactly.
In hopes
that basically means you're hoping for something.
Well, with this in mind.
Bingo. So again, this would be helpful if you had a sentence in front of it. That's what the transitional words do, right? They connect two sentences. So that's why sometimes it may be a little bit difficult to get these if you don't have a sentence beforehand. So maybe the sentence beforehand.
I was asking myself, with what in mind? Because there is
right, exactly. So in this particular situation, there may have been a conversation about maybe some sciences or whatever, could have been talking about some particular facts. And then that's where this comes from. Knowing all these facts, or with this in mind, people believe the earth was flat.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Can I just ask you a question?
Sure.
When I put the comma between two sentences, I have a little bit confusing about this kind of.
You have a question about comma usage.
Yeah, yeah. When I do need to put the comma between two sentences.
Oh, okay. All right. So when you have, okay, so that's actually a whole class. But I'll give you one example. So if you have something called independent
Independent clause.
exactly, which
Yeah.
is basically a complete sentence.
Yeah.
So whenever you have two complete sentences that are separated by a conjunction means like I'm putting in chat like and or but
Yeah, yeah.
or, right?
Mhm.
Whenever there are two complete sentences separated by a conjunction, you always use a comma. Now,
Uh-huh.
however, here's the difference. If you have one independent clause, but a sentence that is not complete, you don't have to use a comma. So, for example, here's a sentence where you have to use a comma. I am tired, and I'm putting it in the chat.
Yeah.
But I am going to teach anyway. Okay. So you have I am tired, which is a complete sentence. You have I'm going to teach anyway. That's a complete sentence. You have the coordinated conjunction but. So that's when you would use a comma. But let's say if I said I am tired,
Uh-huh.
but will teach anyway.
So you don't need comma here.
You don't need a comma because will teach anyway is not a complete sentence because it's missing the subject, right? So
Yeah.
in that case, you would need a comma. Okay, got it?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so and you just reminded me that would be a great class to do a class on comma usage because there's also commas after transitional words, and so
Yeah.
you just gave me a good idea. So I will definitely do that.
Salam
All
alaikum.
right, so that was and make sure you're in that class too. All right, so next, things were pretty dull. Blink, the families of our neighborhood were excited about the people who moved into the Blake's house. So dull meaning basically boring. So things were pretty dull. Blink, the families of our neighborhood were excited about the people who moved into the Blake's house.
To put it briefly.
I think he sings.
Consequently,
To put it briefly.
Consequently, it's consequently. Consequently, remember, means basically like therefore, as a result. So if you think of it this way, if you say things were pretty dull, as a result, the families of our neighborhood were excited about the people who moved. So consequently basically means the same thing.
April, what does do mean?
Dull means
Oh.
like boring. Dull it can mean to me. It could be like if something is dull, it's not very shiny. Let's say if you're talking about um a piece of jewelry or something. It's dull, it's not very shiny, but you can also use it in terms of being boring. So in this case, it's more like boring. Not a lot is happening. It's just very boring. So they were excited about the family that moved across the street because maybe they will bring some type of excitement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure. And then you have Blink. They learned that the new student was from California.
Teacher, excuse me.
Yes.
I don't have clear the other sentence because I don't understand. Maybe the people was boring, so they tried to get excited to stop to be boring.
No. So basically, it's saying things were pretty boring, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you say consequently, which basically means, like I said, as a result or therefore, the families of the neighborhood were excited about the people who moved into the house. So this is what it's basically saying. As a result of it being, not very exciting, the neighborhood wasn't very exciting. So as a result, they were actually happy that another group or another family joined the block, because maybe they will bring some type of excitement or just be somebody else
Oh,
there. You
okay.
see?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, and okay, so Blink, they learned that the new student was from California.
It's all over.
Now,
Eventually?
before you say it, think of it as a sentence that's going to be before that.
Eventually.
And someone
Eventually.
said it eventually.
Eventually.
Exactly. Eventually, they learned that the new student was from California. So maybe the first sentence could discuss how, the students were really trying to figure out who this new person was. And then eventually, they learned that he was from California. So that one is pretty self-explanatory. Let's see. Polls show that the Beatles are the most popular singing group of this century. Blank, they are country music fans who would disagree.
However,
However,
However, that one's very easy. That's just showing a contrast. All right. There are some slight variations in climate, but blink, mild winters can be expected in the South.
As a rule.
Okay, you know what? When you first look at it, you do want to go with as a rule, and I can see where you would. And actually, it wouldn't be a bad idea to use it. It wouldn't be wrong, but there's one that would be a little bit better.
otherwise,
Otherwise, there are some slight variations in climate, but otherwise, mild winters can be expected in the South.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you see how it sounds a little better.
Mm-hmm.
As a rule, wouldn't be wrong, but it just wouldn't be the best fit for this sentence. Not more than otherwise. Okay, and let's do one more, and then we have to stop because time is running out. Okay, so the mayor explained that tax collection was down. It would be necessary to freeze salaries at their current level. Blank, no one was getting a pay raise. And that
in
should be
other
pretty easy.
words,
Nevertheless,
in other
That,
words,
that, in other words,
in other
exactly.
words, okay.
The mayor explained that the tax collection was down. It would be necessary to freeze salaries at their current level. In other words, no one was getting a pay raise. So in other words, just basically clarifies it more for you. In other words, more puts it in. You ever hear the term in layman's terms? Probably not. But when someone says something to you and they use all this really extensive language, and they make it sound so good, and then in English we have a term we say, look, can you put that in layman's terms, basically meaning, can you break it down for me so that I can understand it, because you're talking too, your talk is too fancy. So this one in this case is also saying, in other words, kind of is the same way. It's kind of saying, look, when you think about it, it's all this important, terminology. Oh, we're going to have to freeze salaries and blah 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 blah. And then, in other words, just say, look, here's the deal. You're just not getting a pay raise. That's what we're trying to say. So that's what in other words does. So you guys were awesome. Do you have any questions for me? We only have 1 more minute left. And if there are no questions, then I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson and you guys were great with it. And I will do the comma lesson as well, because I think that would be a great one to do. That's something that, listen, that's something that native speakers and
Thank,
native English writers struggle with.
thank
Comma
you so
usage.
much. Thank
No
you so much.
problem. So trust me, you're not alone with that one, because
Thank you,
it's
thank you.
not easy. You're
Yeah.
welcome. You're welcome. Definitely, you're welcome. So you guys have enjoyed the rest of your day or night, whatever it is for you. And then I have a next class coming up on Saturday. So just follow me and check out my Facebook page and give me some class suggestions so that
Okay.
we can make sure that I do some things that you guys want to do. All
Thank you
right?
so much.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
teacher.
thank
Thank you
Bye
very
you.
much for your
bye.
help.
Bye.
Thank
No
you.
thank
problem.
you.